Hi, my name is Dustin. I'm a respiratory therapist and a respiratory coach. And a question I like to ask you is, has connection affected your ability to breathe? Good question. And if you do smoke, or if you thought of smoking, can smoking be just as bad as not having a good relationship or not having a connection in your life that matters? Let's talk about that. So I'm not going to exaggerate the reality of it, but we all have experienced disconnection and have had symptoms that we don't know why. So what does happen when we smoke is what I'll go over first, and then I'll talk about how we respond to lack of connection. So smoking, what it does, it affects the ability of your cilia fibers to move secretions. So you get those thick smoker coughs, they call it. Increases the inflammation, and it decreases your ability to absorb oxygen. And man, this affects your ability to have reserve and what they call is lung capacity. And it definitely harms your lungs over time. So what would happen if you didn't have connections and weren't smoking? Well, chronic loneliness has actually been connected to chronic inflammation. So what happens when we're lonely or been away from someone for a while? It increases the hormone of cortisol. Cortisol, what will do is it increases inflammation. It tightens your chest. It speeds your breathing. And those people who are dealing with asthma or COPD, their symptoms might just flare up. So in other words, your nervous system is saying, I'm in danger. And so it's telling yourself to breathe faster. You don't slow down and breathe through your nose, you just breathe fast. Research has shown that large populations that have had chronic loneliness have increased mortality risks, exactly like those who smoke. So social isolation is linked to worsened cardiovascular and respiratory outcomes. Strong relationships improve your immune function and recovery from illnesses. So if your friend's sick in the hospital, go visit them. If you're feeling lonely, even though you're not smoking, go see a friend. That will improve your lung health. So it doesn't matter if you smoke cigarettes, you'll be affected by disconnection. So why don't we go out and reach out to other people? Now, why relationships affect our breathing? It's pretty simple, but neurologists, psychologists have both recognized that we were meant to connect. We're basically biologically wired for connection. Now, the quality of connection does matter, but I'm talking about just connection itself with people that matter to you. So that is what I'm focusing on. So what we got to help recognize is that connections decrease cortisol, and they help decrease inflammation and allow you to breathe the way you're meant to breathe. The parasympathetic breathing, where you breathe in slowly in through your mouth, slowly in through your nose, out through your nose. I'll give you an example. One patient says, I breathe better when I'm calm with people I trust. Oh my goodness, I've seen it so many times where a family member comes to a bedside or a family member's next to you at a doctor's visit, and the patient is so much more relaxed and at ease because someone they trust is next to them. So, can positive relationships offset lung damage? Yes. It doesn't cancel smoking damage, but it can dramatically improve symptoms, resistance, and recovery. So, patients with strong support, like you, will adhere to better treatments, recover faster from illnesses, and experience less breathlessness, because they're not using their sympathetic nervous system and high cortisols. So they'll have also better quality of life. Their connections will strengthen their body's ability to heal. That's the whole point of connection. We're able to heal because we have people next to us. It makes life meaningful. So what does this mean to you? If you're working to improve your lung health, first, avoid smoking and protect the air quality. So this is very important to recognize, because it's not just what you put in the air that affects your lungs. It's who you're with. So if you're trying to quit by yourself, it rarely works. You can decide one day I'm ready to quit smoking, but then, I really don't want to because my friends do it. Or I don't have anything outside of me to really hold on to. Or, well, if I quit, I got nothing left. I got nothing to hold me on to. So one thing I want you to go away with is understanding that we were meant and born. Let me rephrase that. We were born and wired for connection. And the only way really to change from smoking to non-smoking is through connection. So taking these simple steps over the next 3 months, you will notice that you will be able to make it much longer without smoking cigarettes, weed, or any harmful chemicals in your life, because your life is more important than these irritants. Connection is who we're meant to be. Connected to a higher power, connected to family, connected to friends. And it's a privilege to introduce you to this perspective on how connections with other people that matter to you can improve your health. Thank you, and God bless.